Welcome back, everyone, to the Roman Show, and it's a pleasure to have this gentleman all the way from California. He is a vocalist of CEREBELLION. You can check them out on Spotify or your favorite streaming platform, as well as on Facebook and on the socials. They have a single out right now, Redemption, of their forthcoming album, Beyond Our Failures. Joe, thanks so much for your time and joining us here on the Roman Show, man. How's everything?
It's going good. Thanks for having me, Rodolfo. It's going really good.
Awesome, Joe. Appreciate your time and joining us here on the program. So, Redemption, single out. It's available right now as we speak. You can check out the video on YouTube. We have that there on the website. And you tell a story about a person or a man basically giving up or just putting aside his corporate professional job to become a professional kickboxer. Elaborate here a little bit how this song came about. From what I understand, you're not a kickboxer. So how did this story come about, and how are you able to put these lyrics into play into this song?
Yeah, good question. So I mean, the video, it's a guy who's, working a desk, day job, office job. And I don't know that he's totally quit yet, but he's like at nights, he's a kickboxer and just trying to make it, it's like his passion. And really the message of the song, it does relate similarly to a lot of our band and the sort of struggles of working day jobs and then trying to get the band, more off the ground than it is. And just, and that's a constant thing, I think, for musicians, but, probably all types of occupations. But basically the message is just, just going after your dream, but, coming up against, some significant hurdles and just dealing with those as you go along, and the kind of internal struggle within your soul as you, run into walls and just kind of hit, basically failures and things like that you have to struggle through.
California is notorious to have some great training camps, specifically for mixed martial artists, because of the weather and because of the mountains and just the terrain and the atmosphere. Do you know by any chance of any kickboxer or any fighters that also kind of helped put pen to paper in this song?
No, I actually, I do. Let me think. I don't really know personally any kickboxers. I had a friend who was a boxer, who was actually a singer. He was a singer in a band too. And there's definitely, there's a lot of MMA and different types of martial arts and boxing and kickboxing out here. I've never really gotten into it myself, but I do have friends that have tried it out and do some variation. But I don't know anyone significantly that really competed besides this singer I was telling you about that was a boxer.
So the video out right now, it's purely pretty much animation. How much of a role did you play in the creation of the video, and why did you guys decide to go that route? And or is there another video that's going to come later on that you'll have actual human beings pretending, the fighter and living in the corporate job and living his life as a kickboxer professionally?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of that. So why do we choose the animation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we had we found that the artist that did our prior, not the very last single, but a couple singles ago, we're releasing a series of singles to promote this new album that you mentioned, Beyond Our Failures, and there's actually 6 total that we're doing, and Redemption is the 5th one. But going back a few singles, this artist did the song Through Darkness, so people should check that out too. And he's just an amazing artist. And we just kind of wanted to go with a different look. Obviously, with COVID and everything, that's put some limitations. Our very first video, music video for the song Now or Never was live, but we've had some limitations, this year, obviously, with COVID. So but luckily this artist just does amazing stuff, and we like the concept of doing lyric videos anyway. Even before COVID, we wanted to do like a lyric video for almost every song, and so it just kind of worked out that way. And just to kind of like expand a little bit more on the story you were asking about,
sure.
You know, I actually did, so the song, the lyric video itself is its own story, but it does parallel pretty closely to my story, I guess, in a way. I actually did leave my kind of stable career, I guess, if you will, a couple of years ago, to basically, you know, double down and go all in on the music thing. So that is, you know, to be more specific, and that's definitely there's definitely a big parallel between, you know, that my story and this video.
That's good stuff. And you know, you always find that in musicians, real life stories, they tell a great story in the music in itself and with the lyrics. So November 11th is when the album drops. Ironically, that's National Metal Day. And for those who don't know, Metal Day is in honor of the classic metal mockumentary This Is a Spinal Tap. It's National Metal Day. Yeah, that's the reason why.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's essentially the reason why Metal Day takes place. I'm like, what the heck is metal? I didn't know we have metalheads had a day, so apparently they do, November 11th. And that's the reason why, Spinal Tap. We all know that monumental.
That's crazy. That's hilarious.
Old school band, Spinal Tap. But you did mention that singles are dropping off every 6 weeks. You've been doing that since March.
Yeah.
So why did you guys decide to do this? Was it because of Corona? And will by then, will we have all of the singles released by November 11th? Or will you kind of hold off on some of the singles and then just release the entire album and include everything else?
Yeah, great question. So, no, actually, the funny thing is we had planned all this out. You know, we finished our album pretty much wrapped right at the end of 2019 or maybe very early 2020. And so we planned this release strategy. And right from that point, it was, or even earlier, it was to, you know, like release 6 singles, like you said, every 6 weeks. And then at the end of that run, then drop the album. So to answer your second question, you know, the last single it's actually, I think it's October 2nd is the 6th single, and then the album drops November 11th. So all singles will be out ahead of the album. And yeah, we just, you know, it's such a different time, you know, now in the way people consume music. And so even though the album is still important, especially in rock and metal, we just thought we try to also capitalize on people consuming singles and just sort of like we put a lot of work into this album. We were really proud of it, and we just really wanted, you know, a lot of these songs to kind of stand on their own and really shine. And a lot of times, you know how it is, where, you know, people hear a couple singles and then they might, if they get the album, you know, some people rock the whole thing, but a lot of times, a lot of those songs just kind of don't really get any love. And, you know, so we just wanted to kind of milk it a little bit, but really just, we're so proud of it that we just wanted to really let each song kind of like have its moment.
Do you think that this is where the recording industry is going? I just noticed right now, Bring Me the Horizon. You know, they dropped an album, I believe it was last year, and then every now and then they just drop these singles. So like, there's no build up to the big album, but they keep releasing stuff. So, like you said, you know, they keep giving us music content. But it's not the 10 or the 12 songs out at once. It's just every now and then. And do you think that benefits a band in this day and age with Spotify and the way that you can get music nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky thing because I think as artists we're always torn, and I don't know if it's just because, you know, the way things were and are in some sense, you know, us growing up, you know, especially in rock, you know, growing up with albums, you know, the album is always so important. But you said it. Spotify's the whole thing, and there's other ones, but that's the main way people are starting to consume it. And it is interesting. I think, to answer your question, I do think it will go more that direction. I don't think we'll ever lose the album, entirely. But I think I'm seeing even a lot more beyond Bring Me. I've seen more metal artists starting to do that, just like you said, kind of trickle out a single here and there. And I think the game now is like you want to have more consistent releases and more consistent content. It's almost like the social media thing, just consistency versus, you drop an album and then 4 years later you drop another album, but in between there's not a lot going on, so I do think it's changing, and it's just going to be interesting to see. But I also don't think the album will go away, but I do think it'll have probably less and less impact, which is, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that.
It's almost like an Instagram post. You gotta post every 3 days a week or something like that, just to give content. But we're so used to. I mean, I think you and I could kind of agree on this. Back then, we would wait. I think back then it was Tuesdays that the albums would drop. Now on Spotify it's Fridays when they drop the entire albums. But there's so much excitement because there's so times, for example, the Deftones, they've just released a single and they haven't released an album in quite some time. And here you are, you're just waiting and anticipating for that album to see, what type of stuff that they create in that album. And maybe the next generation won't know that feeling, but it brings so much of an excitement and a buildup, because here you are as a band just saying, hey, this is just a little sneak preview of what you're going to get from the entire album. And then boom, there you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something about putting on an album where it kind of just takes you away. A song, obviously singles are great, but there's something about the piece of work as an album. But, I could see, on the other side, to play devil's advocate, a lot of albums of the past there's always like the fat, we call it like trimming the fat, and there's always some skippers. So it's like, some bands or artists, like they're almost just rushing out a few extra tracks to put, to fill out the album kind of a thing. So what I could kind of see is like maybe EPs, maybe there's a space where, a 5 or 6 song EP or even like a shorter album, where you still get that feeling of, like you said, the excitement of a group of songs, and a sort of substantial release, but maybe it doesn't have to be like an hour. Maybe it could be like, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. So
a few songs, but kudos on your work. It's definitely great stuff that you guys are doing out there. Now, you guys have been keeping pretty busy on social media or during this COVID-19 thing. I've seen that you've had a lot of Q&As, doing some Facebook Lives. So is that some of the ways you guys have been keeping busy? And you said you finished pretty much this album back in the end of 2019. Have you also been working on new music?
Yeah, great questions. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely how we've been keeping busy with, just trying to, just connect and keep, just connect with our fans and social media and all that stuff, but also, like you said, the live streams and kind of keeping it fun and just hanging out. But yeah, in terms of, we actually have started writing, and not a ton, but we have started writing, and we have plans. Like, we have some stuff in the bag, and it might be too early to get there yet. I don't want to, since we have the album still to promote, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but we definitely have some plans for, later 2020, or I'm sorry, later 2021. And or mid to late 2021. So we definitely have some plans and things that we're working on.
Yeah, essentially, so many bands are thinking of what to do to stay busy during COVID-19, because let's face it, we're already in September, and I don't think we're going to have any live concert tours. It is what it is. Who knows until when that happens? Maybe mid next year is what they're saying. But looking at this album, which song or songs are you looking forward to playing live, and you know that you're gonna get that crowd reaction? Which is that song?
Ooh, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good question. Oh, wow. So, I mean, we actually we played a couple of them before the album even, well, before even the first single came out. So we fortunately had that experience of like kind of trying it out on the road a little bit, and so that was fun. And those went over pretty well. Since they're already released, I could say which ones they were, but it was Now or Never, which was the first single we released, and then No Space for Silence. We tried those out, so, and that was really fun, and it was, those went over great. So but if I had to pick one, gosh, I mean, those were great. And I think just, if you hear those songs, they're definitely like slammers live. So I think, they just sound like live songs. So I think those were kind of the obvious choices to play live. But I actually really love Redemption, the one that, we're rocking right now. And I really look forward to playing that live. I think that's going to kick ass. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know. It's funny. Like, I think sometimes your favorites on the album change because we've been living with it so long. So it kind of changes as time goes on. But right now I'm really excited to play that one for sure.
And any chances you're going to do any, I know you've been doing the whole live stream, but any live concerts virtually that you guys are planning on in the meantime? Have you guys discussed that, or have you done it already?
No, we haven't. And we have discussed it. That's a great question. And it just logistically, it just hasn't worked out for us so far. I totally admire and in some ways envy what some of these artists are doing, but we wanted to do something that, is of a certain quality, and it just, a band on our budget as an independent artist, it just kind of the opportunity hasn't presented itself so far to do something at a substantial quality level, because, the videos and the songs are at a high quality level, and we wanted it to kind of be consistent with that. And we just, again, we haven't had that, the opportunity hasn't presented itself within our budget. So we've kind of put it off a little bit, but it's on the back burner. It's something we keep talking about, and we're just trying to figure out if there's a workaround or ways we can get something out like that.
I know you guys have been staying busy, very creative. I saw one of the guitarists there playing Killswitch Engage.
Yeah.
So you guys have been very interactive, and again, I invite everyone to like CEREBELLION's Facebook page, or you can visit the website cerebellion1.com for more information, and you can listen to Redemption, available right now on Spotify or your favorite streaming service. And then November 11th is when the entire album drops on Metal Day. Joe, I want to thank you so much for your time. Stay safe, and when all this stuff clears up, please put there in your calendar, South Florida. We'd love to have you here, man.
Oh man, absolutely. We would love to get down there. So I really appreciate you, Rodolfo. I appreciate you having me on, and it's been an honor to chit chat with you.
You got it, man. Cheers, man, and stay safe. And again, we'll hope to see you very soon right here on the stage.